know we about to eat this a fast meal. Y'all gotta pay for this heat like a gas bill. We keep on coming back, so yeah, they mad still. Everyone sick, make them pay me some bad bills. Red, white, and blue like Superman, so you know we eating at the Super Bowl. Kill the competition, set up the funeral. Josh Allen catching all the shots you go for, we callin' blitz. Ready to start, we ain't calling no quits. I'm the #1 draft pick. A lot of y'all talk, but I ain't hearing it. Only listen to Keyshawn and him. Talk about the Bills dominating on the field. All our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill. When we talk about the Bills dominating on the field, and our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill.
What's going on? Welcome back to another live episode of the Podium podcast, sponsored by Reese T. I am your co-host, Aramis.
40 Keys. What's going on, everybody?
Listen, Melly Mac is on the way. He will be here. We got a full show ready to go for you. So listen, let's just jump right into it, bro. Do you want me to start, or do you want to start? Because I'm about to fall out on the floor crying right now.
You can start.
I can start?
You can start.
Listen, I need everybody to understand, because I've heard more than one person say I can't wait to hear them blame Sean McDermott for this.
Wait. Before you do that.
Yep.
Guys, you know how we talk about there's 4 ingredients in that Reese tea? Add 1. And then you know what to do with that.
I was going to let you hit him with that at the end.
I'm saying add 1 ingredient to that Reese tea.
Salt? No?
Only you got to be 21 to add that ingredient.
Yeah, it's a little bit of
a little bit of that. How are you fancy?
Right, okay. Look, my goal today is to reveal to everyone what really took place in this game. It seems like a lot of the Bills pundits agree with my sentiments as far as things that I saw with the game. I've heard a lot of the same stuff that I would have said on the radio today, but I think at the end of the day, this loss, had I been a little bit more objective in understanding who the personnel they had was, I guess not understanding who the personnel they had was, but just understanding the disparity between our personnel and theirs, our scheme and theirs, I think maybe I overestimated our ability to do what we've done the last 3 weeks.
I mean, I get it. You're riding high. 3-0. And people say, a lot of people were like you where they said, there's no way. But also for me, I thought, honestly, I didn't say anything because I didn't want to pee on everybody's Cheerios. But I thought it was like the worst
That's what I specialize
possible matchup. Right. I thought it was the worst matchup we could have. So when you texted me earlier, you said, why you seem like you're taking it well? I mean, because that's what I expected. I didn't expect 35-10. I didn't expect that, but I thought it was going to be a tough one.
Yeah. So at the root of 35-10, it's the Buffalo Bills scheme, both offensively and defensively, and the personnel offensively and defensively that were the difference in the game, right? And everybody at One Bills Drive has something to do with that, right? It's not just Sean. He's at the top, but it's not just him. I'm throwing everybody a big bone right now, okay? Just so we're clear. So, what I saw was a team full of, on defense, smaller, faster players that are here to stop the pass.
Yep.
Not to stop big 311-pound fullbacks. Not to stop 6'8", 380-pound left guard or right guards. Right. Not to stop 6'4", 250-pound running backs.
Behind said 311-pound fullback.
Exactly. So what we saw was the Ravens' best and the Bills' worst. It's a schematic mismatch. Mm-hmm. It's something that's going to be there until the Bills change their defensive scheme.
Yep.
Right? Now, the one thing that I think Buffalo gets away with from a defensive schematic standpoint is there's only one, maybe two teams in the league that can do what Baltimore can do.
Exactly.
The only other team that I can see maybe being able to do that is the 49ers with Jordan Mason. Bigger back, great offensive line, the scheme that they run. You know what I'm saying? And then other teams to a smaller degree, right? But that's something that we can look at and say, all right, you're not going to play these teams every single year, right? They might continue putting the Ravens on our schedule now after this loss, just for revenge games and all that kind of stuff. But it's not one of those situations where they're in your division and you have to worry about building your team to stop them specifically, right? So we can kind of set that to the side of, you know what? It is what it is. There's no getting around that. Sean McDermott is not allowing Bobby Babbage to just change the scheme. There can be adaptations to it and stuff like that, but this is what Sean wants defensively, right? So, okay, that is what it is. Now, offensively, that to me is a much bigger look at his face.
Now we cooking. Now we're there. Yep. Go ahead.
That to me is a much bigger what's the word I'm looking for? It's a much bigger sin, so to speak, that the Bills carry with them, because everybody that's on this offense are people that they chose with the mindset to play this style of offense. It's an offense that is designed for each individual player to be a playmaker, essentially. Right? The idea of everybody eats at the same time means everybody makes a play. If you do not have guys who are proven to be playmakers on a consistent basis in this offense, and you go against a more athletic, more physical, more aggressive team in the Baltimore Ravens, you're going to get punched in the nuts like this. Right? And so for me, when I saw two things yesterday offensively that really, really, really bothered me. The first thing was, well, let me say this. I'm not even nearly as upset, and I promise I'll get to everybody's comments.
We got that many already?
Yeah, we got a lot. But I'm not even as upset at the trick play as everybody else seems to be, right? For me, by the time we got into that point, is it frustrating that we were starting to build momentum and you know, we that play kind of started an avalanche all over again? Okay, maybe. But at that point in the game, with the way that Sean McDermott was making decisions, I kind of had a feeling it would be very difficult to come back in that game and win it with the way that Sean was calling it, right? And the reason I'm saying that is because I point to the revenge game last week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Pretty much every fourth down that we faced until we just didn't have to anymore, we went for it. And then once we got them down far enough and they became one-dimensional, they started to give up after a while. You could see it. The players just weren't in it. They knew what it was, right? For me, and I'll go back to my initial point, the usage of Curtis Samuel pissed me right off. You have a receiver on your team that has the second highest separation rate on the team behind Khalil Shakir, and you use him more at running back in the backfield on gadget plays and screens and stuff like that than you do as an actual receiver.
Let me touch on the trick play, why it made me mad.
Yeah.
The reason why I was upset about that play was actually twofold. One, you have to set the play up.
Yep.
If you have Curtis Samuel in the backfield with no quarterback next to him, you have to do that before. They have to see you. You have to set it up. You have to see a snap to Curtis Samuel where he does something different, where he runs the ball, where the defense is, oh, what is this? Josh Allen standing over there. What does this mean? But two, where was MVS? He wasn't on the field. Joe Miller from overreacted.
MVS had, 23 snaps or something like that?
Yeah, something stupid. But, that should have been one of them. Yeah. Joe Miller, I wrote in my notes, I want to see who Josh was throwing the ball to. Because
Mac Hollins was the receiver on that play.
Was it Matt? I know Keon Coleman was out there too.
Mac Hollins, Keonco. But if is that what you're saying? MVS should have been one of those receivers.
He should have been out there.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
And the thing about this is, the setup was off. There's no speed on the field outside of Curtis Samuel.
Yep.
Everybody doesn't respect Curtis Samuel because they haven't seen him do anything yet. Like you said, I put in my notes, where's Curtis Samuel? Why is Mac Hollins the leading receiver in targets yesterday?
Right.
Mac Hollins. It is egregious.
Right.
It really is. And I'll let you get back to your point, but I just thought while I was thinking about it that I wanted to hit on that.
No, whatever you got to get out, bro. This is our venting session right now. So the Curtis Samuel point, he's guaranteed, I think, $3.2 something million this year, right? And with incentives, he could make $8 million, right? It almost seems like they don't want him to make the $8 million because they don't have it to pay him. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so what do? You keep him running all these gadget plays to justify having him on the team for that amount of money, but you don't actually treat him like a receiver. Right. And to me, that is an egregious error, an egregious misuse of assets that needs to be rectified. I mean, we've seen the Bills use players in very, very weird ways, in very different ways than even the players are used to being used, and all in the name of diversity and versatility and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, in certain aspects, it works. We saw in film review on Coach D's Corner last week, the Jaguars getting manhandled by a defense that had enough diversity and versatility amongst its secondary to be able to do a lot of different disguises, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. Well, this week that got exposed heavily, mm-hmm. right? And it wasn't just the secondary getting exposed. It was, for some reason, the pass rush had no bite. And I don't even I will say this, because I made it a point to remember to bring this up in the conversation of why the pass rush wasn't as good. First thing is, they moved Patrick McCarry back to guard. Mm-hmm. That's where he played for them last year. And that's when they were running the ball all over people, right? One of the things that they did this year, the first 3 weeks of the season, was they had McCarry at right tackle. Now, McCarry is one of those dudes where he can play anywhere on the line, right? He's not an amazing player at every single position. Guard center is more of his bread and butter. But when you make that adjustment and you say, okay, you know what? This guard ain't working out. Mm-hmm. McCarry, we know you can play tackle. Thank you for your service. But we're going to put you back in a better position that better serves what we need to be able to do to beat this Buffalo Bills team. Right? And they did that, and it worked. They went right back to being able to run it. And I'm not even sure if they made this move this week specifically, but I noticed it this week because we played them. They might have even made this last week when they ran all over the Dallas Cowboys. So that's one of the smaller nuanced things that the Baltimore Ravens did that made them look better against us, right? But on top of that, they came in with a very specific game plan to attack what they've seen on tape.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right? So the first thing in my mind is you know that you're playing a very physical and heavy run team. Why do you not change your game plan to being more aggressive against the run? Just in general. Not put bigger dudes on the defensive line. Get Ed Oliver out of there.
I put in my notes the line should have been something like you should have had Johnson, Jones, Rousseau, and you could have put Smoot out there, Epinesa, whatever you want to do. But yeah, Ed Oliver should have just been a situational guy like Von Miller.
Exactly. And no disrespect to Ed Oliver or Von Miller, but you know what? In this game, we need this specific skill set on the field. Right. That's just what it is, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a coaching error. That's a coaching thing. That's something that you have to know who you are and who you aren't. Mm-hmm. And maybe to some degree, the Bills were feeling themselves going into this game, thinking they can do whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know how you don't see that as a coach. I don't know how you don't look at what they're doing on offense and think, man, if we don't put big boys on the field,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so with that, because one of the things that I said to my pop when I was talking to him about the game, I said, well, why didn't they just blitz the run? You know, because I say be more aggressive against the run now, but initially I was thinking blitz the run. Mm-hmm. You gotta stop Henry from getting momentum past the line of scrimmage, right? And one of the ways you can do that is shooting gaps. So what he said was, okay, well, they shoot the gap, but then Lamar Jackson pulls and runs outside. Exactly. Now there's nobody. I get that,
and that's why I think, to your point earlier, why they didn't have more pressure. I think they made a conscious effort to try to keep him behind the line. They didn't want to force him out or flush him out. They wanted to kind of control where he wasn't, and they tried to make him beat him with his arm, and he kind of did. He had an efficient day. So you know, I think it's just like I said, this is a tough game to game plan for.
Right,
it's just tough.
Right. So, I mean, in this type of game, I think it was Kyle Van Noy.
Oh, yeah, it had to be. I don't even know what you're going to say, but it was him.
Created a penalty on Spencer Brown.
Yeah,
he created it on his own.
Yep, it was him.
I'm talking about the holding call that went against Spence. Mm-hmm. So stuff like that is stuff you learn in New England, where Kyle Van Noy got drafted to. And stuff like that is stuff that helps you win championships. Little nuanced stuff that creates, stress points for an offense in a game. Mm-hmm. Those are the types of things that our players need to learn.
Yeah.
It does not seem like they have any type of coaching outside of what their assignment is. And what I mean by that is this. The 87-yard run by Derrick Henry, Rasul Douglas was supposed to have outside leverage. Well, he did. But you know who else had outside leverage because he saw it coming?
Who's that?
Greg Rousseau. Mm-hmm. So Greg Rousseau takes an outside position so that Derrick Henry doesn't go to the outside. He chooses to go inside. You know who doesn't see that coming?
Does his name start with a D and last name start with a W?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Your boy 3-1, basically in the 2 seconds that he has to decide, it's not even a decision. The decision is, I'm supposed to cover the outside, so I'm going to sit outside. Mm-hmm. You're not actually reading. You're not actually doing any thinking. You just caught off guard because I'm doing my assignment.
Bad angle. Dorian Williams, bad angle. You vacated the B.
Taylor Rapp, terrible angle.
Taylor Rapp went right behind Dorian Williams for some reason.
Right.
I'm like, what the hell's going on? Ed Oliver got jazzed from Fresh Prince right out the. He went flying. He was out of there, right. So that play was a comedy of errors.
Right. So that decision by Rasul Douglas, whether it's a split-second decision or a 3-second decision, the speed of the game is extremely fast. But when you have played as long as Rasul Douglas has played, at the level that Rasul Douglas has played, there's no excuse for that. None. You have to get into that gap and do something. Even if you get yourself taken out like Taylor Rapp did.
Yeah.
You got to do something, right? So that's why that play happens. Mm-hmm. It's Rasul Douglas choosing to follow his assignment as opposed to reading the play and reacting to the play.
Right.
To me, it starts with, and there's really no way to know this, but are you being coached like that? Because based on what we've seen and what the coaches talk about, as far as what they instill in the players, making those how can I say, making those split decisions and adapting what they know about their assignment to what they're seeing and making adjustments on the fly, it's definitely a situation where they have to know that they have some kind of freedom to make a move like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And if they don't feel like they do, what's going on, bro? If they don't feel like they do, then it's really going to be a situation where you see what we see. Mm-hmm. players are choosing to follow their assignments as opposed to being smart, reading the play, and making the play. Douglas is expected to be a playmaker on this team.
Yeah.
He's the number one corner. You got to see that.
Yeah. I mean, that's 100% factual. You look at, you're taught at an early age, create a pile.
Right.
You're taught at an early age, keep your head in a hole. Dorian Williams knew his responsibility. And, he overshot it like he always does. Dorian was being Dorian. And that's what happened. See, the thing is, somebody said in the chat, how come we're talking about the teams before like they were less than? Because they were. And you see a team like this who was 1-2, and the Bills are 3-0, and you're like, oh, easy work.
Right.
Did you hear Ray Lewis before the game started?
Yeah.
I wanted to run the Baltimore, man. I was about to get going.
I was as soon as he came on the screen, I'm like, oh no.
I forgot about that guy.
Yeah, that's the worst thing they could have did on that night.
Yeah.
After all week long, people have been talking about how Josh Allen is the better quarterback. Of course, we would walk into a buzzsaw in Baltimore.
And I'm telling you, that's why it's going to be the rivalry. If people think about Mahomes and no, it's why it's going to be Lamar versus Allen because they got drafted the same year, like Jordan, like Bird and Magic. Yeah. So I mean, like I tweeted out, and I think I might have texted it. I said, "This is for him to put his cape on. We got to see him put that because this is it. Yeah, this is that moment."
Yeah, but again, you can, and back to the offensive side of this discussion, when you put players on the field that seem to be very productive against bad teams, but when matched up against elite athleticism, elite aggression, elite physicality, they can't make a play. I mean, the only thing that I will give our offense is this. Kincaid was hurt. After he got his ankle wrapped, not the same receiver.
Are you talking about Shakir?
I'm sorry, Shakir.
Yeah.
What did I say?
It's Kincaid.
Okay, sorry.
Same difference.
No, I don't think so. After he got the ankle wrapped, not the same guy. I mean, I don't think Humphrey covered him the whole game, but on key down and key plays, Humphrey was covering him, right? And one of the things that bothered me, that kind of brings me back to the Curtis Samuel discussion, is if you see, right, you're a team that makes adjustments now. If you see that Shakir is hurt, if you see that Kincaid ain't getting open, man, I got to put people on the field that can get open. I got to start putting Cook out as a receiver. I get him against a linebacker. I got to start getting Samuel out there. He can win one-on-one. He has the second highest separation rate on the team. Mm-hmm. How do you not know that? And maybe you do and you just ain't paying attention to it. Okay. Whatever.
Yeah, that was a classic instinct. Like I always say, one was too big, lights too bright.
Right.
He peed down his legs.
Right.
Brady, I'm talking about.
Who?
Brady.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at
maybe.
They played so scared. Cook, his first and second carry was an 8-yard bust. He juked out.
He actually balled. He had over 4 yards of carry.
He played well, but he had 9 carries. 9 carries
and only 39 yards.
Only 39 yards on 9 carries. Right. Then you have I forget. I think it's Collinsworth last night. He said Cook's fast, but Johnson's faster. I'm like, is he? I mean,
technically, yeah, he is.
Is he faster?
Yeah, Ty Johnson's a 4.3 guy.
Oh, is he a 4.3? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll take that. All right. Yeah. So, but I mean, where was all the motion? Where was all the pre-snap motion that Josh got all this?
I know. It seems like they only did it when Curtis Samuel was on the field.
That's it. And I saw nothing for him. You're supposed to be giving Josh information. You're supposed to be trying to get the defense manipulated, and they just went head up with nothing.
But you know what I noticed too. Even when they did do some of the receiver motions, not from the backfield, but just from bunches into stack sets, the defense wasn't giving up much at all.
Right.
You know what I mean? Most of the time when they did the motion, you can kind of see, okay, this is zone. You know it's going to be zone. Mm-hmm. But when they ran the zone, they still had the line of scrimmage stacked so that the offensive line didn't know who was coming.
Right.
So it was this combination of not only are we not going to give Josh any information, but we're going to also give the offensive line false information, which it's a masterful scheme. It worked.
Yeah, it was I forget what down it was. I think it was in the third quarter. It was Kyle Hamilton. He came up, and the announcer, this is obvious a blitzing down, and he ran towards the line. Then he backed up.
Yeah.
And this was right after Conor McGovern got pulled out for that inexplicable concussion, not concussion nonsense. So then I don't know if you saw what Alec Anderson did at that point. He snaps the ball and he stands up. There's nobody to block. He's standing there like this. And he does a 360 and goes over there, but it's too late by then.
Yeah.
So that's what we were doing before. But it seemed like we came out scared for the beginning of the game yesterday. They felt like they didn't belong. Baltimore came out like they really were not supposed to win that game.
Well, that's the thing. Like, to me, and this is going to be the last point, and then I want to open up the floor for whatever else y'all want to bring in. But the issue to me was the Bills were driving and went for a 4th and 1 on their own 39. Mm-hmm. They went for it. Soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, let's go. Okay, we ready.
Right.
We ain't got no fear. Attack. That's what we're supposed to do. And then what do? We got it. We got the first down, right? Then they run the ball again. Get 4 yards on the I think it was 4 yards on the first play or something like that. But anyway, they ended up with a 4th and 2 on the 49-yard line. 4th and 2 on the 49-yard line. To me, that's a no-brainer. You already went for it 10 yards ago.
Right.
Or 8 yards ago. What's the issue? The issue is you making an emotional decision. Like, you get to this point where you're seeing this defense play well against your offense, and you're nervous now. I didn't expect them to be playing this well against my offense.
Right.
I see them doing things that I don't think we're prepared to handle. We better punt and just see how the defense does. Maybe we can find an advantage there. That's really what that decision was. Mm-hmm. It had nothing to do with, well, if it was another 4th and 1, I would have went for it. You said that mess last week. You said, well, it was 4th and 3, but if it was 4th and 2, I'd go for it.
Yeah, it was 4th and 2. Like, I'm not going for it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the second you make a decision, and this is something my pop said too. The second you make a decision to go for it on the first 4th down you encounter on the first drive you have of the game, that's a firm decision throughout the rest of the drive. You have to keep going for it. You can't stop.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes no sense for you to go for it on 4th and 1 and not go for it on 4th and 2 when you're at midfield. It's a scared decision. And then that decision led to, in my mind, every other decision being a scared decision. Mm-hmm. Play calls, everything. They weren't ready to be aggressive against the team that showed that they were ready to be just as aggressive. Right. When they can punch somebody in the mouth and dance around them like Ali, okay, cool. But the second they get punched back, wait a second.
Oh, you can't do that.
Right? We don't like being bullied back.
Right.
It's silly. It's silly. I don't understand. I don't understand how the players emotionally. I don't understand how the players emotionally don't just get drained by a decision like that. Looking at Josh's face during the game, it looked at times like not frustration, but exasperation. You know what I mean? A look of, what else do I have to do? I already threw a 50-yard pass to Shakir and made a play there. I need more. Coaches, you got to give me something else. You got to make a decision. You got to put some better players on the field. Come up with a scheme. Come on. Where's the adjustments? It literally was just Josh on the field trying to figure something out. Nobody can make a play, but everybody eats, right?
I got a fun fact for you.
Sure.
Stephon Diggs, right? 160 targets last year.
Oh, boy. Where's this going?
Right now, we are projected for Shakir to have 81 targets for the whole season.
Okay.
Kincaid, 77 targets for the whole season.
Okay.
Hollins, 47 targets for the whole season. Coleman, 47 targets. Samuel, 38 targets. Valdez-Scantling, 26 targets. Knox, 21. Who is your go-to guy? These are targets. I thought they said Kincaid was definitely going over 100 targets this year. But they just said Shakir was definitely going to be about 100 targets. They better get moving.
Yeah.
Better get moving because this is not sustainable. I mean, you look at the numbers that they put up here versus numbers they put up against the Dolphins, they're pretty similar for a team. if you look at their offensive output versus their defensive output. And the only problem is one team was bad, one team was good. If you look at Derrick Henry, after the first half, he had 15 carries for 90 yards. Not too bad in the second half. The problem is he had 109 on 9 carries in the first half. And you know what I got out of that, though? This is what I took from that game. The defense looked like they made adjustments in the second half. And one or two things happened. I said it, and Lock Rain actually IM'd me and said the same thing. She said, watch McDermott take over the defense after the second half. Now, I said, we've seen it happen before. Yeah. And so I say either that or he said, you know what, you guys, because he seemed mad, but he wasn't as mad as he was when we knew he took the game over before. You know, and in my mind, when I watched him, I'm like, this guy, he's devious. Because he's like, you know what? You figure it out. That's how I thought he looked. You know, you figure it out, Babbage. You know, this is your show. Make it work. And then on top of that, when they decided they were going to just run, the Bills were comfortable because they didn't have to worry about Lamar Jackson.
Right.
That's the key. That's what people don't understand when they say Lamar. Look at the dynamic that he puts on. The Bills have to focus on so much.
Yep.
Balen Spector couldn't figure out anything in the first half because guess what? He was pushing over Williams because there was a shift, and now he's got to watch out for Lamar Jackson. But by that time, you got Nick Moreau, who doesn't even belong on the freaking field, getting dusted by who was that? Justice Hill, whoever that was. Justice Hill, yeah.
Well, that was Dorian Williams that got burned by him.
Okay, so it must have been. It had to be was it the Derrick Henry catch? It was one of those catches where.
No, you might be talking about the Nelson Aguilar catch.
Maybe
where he was playing the underneath coverage.
What was a touchdown?
Oh,
it was on a touchdown. Moreau was Balen Spector was pushing over Dorian Williams to the right, and then whoever the linebacker was on the left, which was Nick Moreau.
It was a long touchdown pass?
It wasn't long.
Oh.
Yeah, they were inside like the 10 or something like that.
Oh,
so it was a short boy. I think it was a Henry one. But by the time he realized what he was doing, he was too slow and it was over with.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you didn't build a team, and I like how you started the show with the way they constructed the team. Mm-hmm. Now it's too late. This is it. We don't have the money. What you have is what you got, and now you're trying to bring in a third linebacker, and that's all. That's what you're going to be left with. You're going to be left with this. Luckily, like you said before, we don't play this that often.
Right.
You know, it's amazing how Balen Spector looked good and Dorian Williams looked good and Cam Lewis looked decent after Lamar Jackson didn't have to do anything anymore when they had the game in hand. They were run blitz and they were aggressive. Everything you wanted to see. Yep. But like you said, the air was let out of the sails on that the flea flicker. The reason why, because we're only down by 11 points. Mm-hmm. We're only down 11. We had a chance. If you would have connected there, or the Keon Coleman long ball that people ridiculed somebody named 14 for, same catch, same drop. Yeah. It's maddening that you have to watch it and you realize we don't have speed. When you figure out this everybody eats bullcrap, there's nothing left.
Did y'all see the Chargers Chiefs game?
Mm-hmm. You saw the Chargers? Mm-hmm. Actually, I saw some of it. I turned it off when my man's leg was. And that's one way to get blocked. Let me just say that. Never send me a picture of any injuries. Don't do that. I can't do that.
That's one way to get blocked.
That's one way to get blocked. But what were you saying? I'm sorry.
So the Chiefs were at a point in that game where not a lot was working for them at all. Mm-hmm. Right? Chargers defense was reading everything. They were all over them. I think it was 10-3. Mm-hmm. It might have been 10-0, right? And then Mahomes gets a call, goes to the huddle, they line up, they run. I think it might have been a play action, and then Mahomes launches it for like 60, 70 yards to Xavier Worthy for a touchdown, makes it 10-7, mm-hmm. right? Now, when I saw that play, I'm like, must be nice. When all else fails, give it to the fastest man in NFL history and let him make a play downfield. Mm-hmm. And he did. Mm-hmm. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. He burned the guy covering him, got free, caught the ball, and scored a touchdown. One shot, boom, done. 7 points on the board. Right? Now, that kind of a play does the same exact thing. It has the same exact effect that a Derrick Henry 87-yard touchdown run has. It now forces your defense to play a way they didn't intend to play, which is exactly where the Bills found themselves defensively, right? But to get back to the offensive point that I was trying to make, the Buffalo Bills have a player like that on their team. His name is Curtis Samuel. He's the fastest player we got. I mean, as much as they want to say MVS ain't got it no more, baby. He don't. There's a reason he wasn't in on that flea flicker play. So you put Curtis Samuel on the field, you put Kincaid, you put Coleman, put all three of them on the field. Have them run deep. Somebody gonna be open. Somebody gonna make a play. One of the three of them. But at least on that flea flicker play, you got 3 chances now, as opposed to one Mac Hollins who was double covered, which is where everybody's saying that Josh was looking to go. Mm-hmm. To me, the error in overestimating or having false confidence in, and I'm gonna try to be as nice as I possibly can about this, B-level receivers, right?
Some of them.
Yeah, some of them. Mm-hmm. This is the point that I think I was talking about before the season started. This is why you needed to keep a guy like Stephon Diggs. And I know everybody's probably rolling their eyes now. Oh, here we go, Stephon Diggs. Okay, fine. Take Diggs' name out of the conversation if you want.
A player like Diggs.
Right. This is why you need an elite wide receiver. Mm-hmm. You need at least one. Mm-hmm. It's for situations like that, because you know what else happened? The Bills were down like this, 20-3. Right? We came back to beat them. Why? Because we had an elite wide receiver that can make plays. Mm-hmm. When you got a guy like that, you want to keep that guy and then add all the B receivers around him.
Yeah.
You don't get that guy and then do what the Bills did and put a bunch of C and D receivers around him. Yeah. You get that guy and you build up the wide receiver room to what we have now, plus the elite guy. That's how you end up with an unstoppable offense, no matter who you face. Yeah. We weren't supposed to go through that last night. The reason we went through that was a very emotional $31 million dead cap hit. Mm-hmm. That's why we went through that last night. It wasn't a relief.
Right.
This is what's going to happen if we face them in the playoffs.
Right. And I think the beauty of the $31 million cap hit, well, I shouldn't say beauty because you know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
But I think the point of that is, at one point at the end of the game, not end of the game, but in the fourth quarter, they zoomed on Josh with the hat on, with his head down, not talking to anybody once again. And I was like, what would 14 do if he saw that? That'd be another one of these moments.
Yes.
What are you doing?
Yes.
Pick your head up. We still got football to play. It's not out of reach yet. But instead, no, we don't want that. We don't want anybody that'll challenge. We don't want anybody that'll say anything. We don't want anybody to ruffle feathers, because we want everybody to like each other.
Right.
We want everybody to get along. We want our quarterback to say, you know what, it's easy now. It's fun now. We don't have to force the ball anywhere now. Well, you know what else you don't have? You don't have somewhere you know you can go with the ball. Now, if you'd had Steph Diggs and Keon Coleman out there, that little bastard was there. I got a little ode to that, Junie. I had you in mind. That did you see the catch? The big boy with Keon Coleman twisting in the air? That's a basketball move right there. That right there was man.
Nice. That was nice.
That was the highlight we saw every time from training camp. Wasn't that same catch?
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, okay, but we need more. And Josh isn't going to be able to give one when you got guys that fly around the field like that. Then you got these B-list receivers, C-list receivers, afterthoughts. You know, it's just not going to happen. As much as you like to say there's no melancholy, there's no egos, there's also nobody to come up with a big play when you need it.
Right. And again, to be clear, it doesn't, because we got one person that said Diggs didn't want to be here.
We know that.
The conversation,
know that.
right. The conversation is not specifically about Diggs being here. It's a conversation about having an elite wide receiver that can make plays for your team. Let's just keep it inside the vacuum that it is. An elite wide receiver that can make plays during the regular season, right? Because the second you say Diggs, postseason, we're talking about just a elite receiver, a number one receiver that can come in and make plays for your team. And we're not even thinking about the playoffs right now, right? When we get to the conversation about playoffs, we then have to now think we're probably going to see this team in the playoffs. Yeah, they're 1-3, but they found their game now 2 weeks in a row.
They're going to get there.
They'll be fine.
They're going to get there.
Right? And hopefully, so will we. But what's going to happen when you face this team again? Right? Because go ahead.
So you know the messed up part about the statement. Hopefully, you know we're going to make it because Patriots are poo-poo. The Dolphins have no quarterback, and the Jets, they're jetsing again.
They seem to be falling apart. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, you know we're going to make it. But then, like you said, what happens when we get there?
Right. And my mindset is we just watched the Buffalo Bills have their best two run defending linebackers in the game the whole time. Right? And I'm talking about as far as guys who are more willing to take on blocks and attack the line of scrimmage and take good angles against the run and stuff like that. Not saying that Bernard or Milano take bad angles or are lesser run defenders, but they're both smaller guys than Dorian Williams and Baylon Spector. So to me, if your game plan didn't work with your two best run defending linebackers, even though they're terrible in coverage, they're still your best two run defending linebackers. That tells you right there, you don't have the horses to win that race.
Right.
So unless you plan on going out and finding somebody from somewhere and signing them for $30, that's what you got. That's what you're stuck with.
I can come out after you get for tonight. I'll come out after I get off.
Hey, fair enough. We might be able to see Keyshawn on the gridiron once
have
again.
a bigger gut than Fred Smoot. Not Fred Smoot.
As long as you stick some cold brew in his IV, he'll be all right.
Oh boy.
So that to me is I think where the frustration lands. It's yes, you don't play this. They're not in your division. You don't play them every year, so you don't have to worry about building your team to beat them. But what are you going to do when you see them in the playoffs?
Depend on Taron Johnson to get another 100-yard interception. That's it.
That team was nowhere near as good as the team we just played.
I know.
And that's what's crazy about this is the reason the Ravens did not make the Super Bowl was because their game plan the bed and Lamar Jackson was in a situation that he hadn't been in before, which is, you're in an AFC championship playing for everything. Mm-hmm. That was his first time being there. You know what I'm saying? And to his credit, I don't think he played a terrible game, but there were injuries. You know what I mean? There were coaching decisions that affected the way everything went, penalties all over the place. You know what I mean? It just kind of seemed like everything swung the Chiefs' way in that game. Fine. But now the team has found themselves back in a position to be as close as possible to that team without Mike McDonald. And where we're left after this game is we were thinking going into the game, it's us and the Chiefs.
Right.
The Texans been getting destroyed. They've been having trouble. They had trouble with the Jaguars. They had to come back on the Jaguars. Man, we ain't worried about them. That's what we were saying last week. Now, you got to add another player to that list, add another team to that list. Yep. And the team you got to worry about now, it ain't the Chiefs. The Chiefs just lost Rashee Rice. So now what you going to do?
So, Roy, hold on a second. Hold on, Roy. I got to make a move on my team because I have Rashee Rice and I was over with.
I got an Xavier Worthy I can sell you. I mean, he over here catching 70-yard touchdown passes. Worth a shot. Just saying.
Roy, you're good now.
Yeah. So here's what we need to do. Because we ain't heard from Mac this whole entire time. So, my man.
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Melly Mac in the building.
What you got, man?
Man, we got punched in the face. Pretty hard. Pretty hard.
Right.
The ironic thing is this is the worst beatdown I've seen since the 2021 Colts game. And if you think about it, we lost the exact same way. They ran the ball on us and we could not stop the run. And that was one of my fears of the Bills team. I was kind of worried about the pass defense, but historically we've never really been beaten in the air. Like, nobody's really been passing on us and we're beat like that. But all the games we seem to lose, especially by more than one score, is from the run game. And as you saw last night, I don't know what it is about these defenses where, I don't know, like they can't get it together, or I don't know if we're too small and we don't fare well against bigger backs. But these two last games, the Colts game back in 2021 and this game, was the last time I seen we got ran on like that. Like, they just had their field day. So the coordinators, man, they got to get it together. Like, I don't know what the offensive coordinator was doing. The offense to me looked very vanilla, very vanilla.
They were lost.
And the thing that kind of worried me was, you're at a point where you need to drive back, you need to answer back, and that's the best thing you could draw up. Like, where was the pop plays? Where was the 5 wide receiver sets? You saw none of that. They act like they didn't want to try to win this game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you really think about it, look at the offense that the Ravens got. They kind of did the same thing we did. A lot of scrimmage yard passes, but the only difference is they have they got two dynamic running backs, Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, and that's what they led the game in. If you look at it, Lamar Jackson only passed to five passes to wide receivers. Mm-hmm. And you look at their wide receivers versus our wide receivers, where's the elite wide receivers at on the Ravens? Right. You got Rashard Bateman, you got Flowers,
Nelson Aguilar.
Who's the third? Like you know what I'm saying? Like, they don't have elite wide receiver like we got either. So, like, we got similar offenses, but the difference was they gave the ball to their playmakers, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, and they killed us. They didn't have an answer for it. Mm-hmm. So I think, as far as I know, they're young in the coordinator game, but they gotta have a better response than that, man.
I like how Vine said it. It's good medicine. I like it. It's good medicine.
So much. Like this, the last thing this team needed was medicine at this point in time. You want to go through some adversity, but listen, let that happen later on in the season when everybody is dealing with it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We didn't need to get punched in the face on Sunday night.
That's the part that hit me. But I wanted to catch it now because they were getting too high on that 3-0. They were getting too high. We're playing. You see Arizona. Yeah. You see Jacksonville. You see Miami. Who do we play? But we were holding that 3-0. Anybody to say something about us not being a real 3-0 team? Like, no.
Well, any other good team that went 3-0, but the teams they beat had a combined record of 2-9 when the Dolphins lose tonight,
that will happen.
We would be looking at that team and saying they're frauds.
Yeah.
But we don't, because it's our team.
Right. And I don't want to go as far as to say, because you gotta play who they make you play. So right. I won't say we're fraudulent because we didn't pick our schedule. However, I know what you're saying, but my point is,
I guess let me clear before I get destroyed.
No, you didn't say anything wrong, but I knew what you meant.
But like, the Bills did what they were supposed to do against those teams. They dominated all of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, they kind of struggled a little bit against the Cardinals, whatever, but that was week 1. So I will always say week 1 is preseason game number 4. Yeah. So once you got past that, you dominated the Miami Dolphins, you dominated the Jags. That's what you're supposed to do with bad teams if you want to be known as a good team. So it wasn't like we just barely beat them boys and we're 3-0 and people are like, 3-0, are they good? Right. People looked at us like, that's what good teams usually do to bad teams. All right, you got to be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think to your point, yeah, I'm glad. I'm hoping that McDermott said Babbage figured this out because like you said, he's young.
Yeah.
Babbage, to me, if he was the coordinator the whole game, he showed what his bounce back is. Brady did not. Brady kept doing the same BS that he was doing the whole time. You can blame. I mean, we've never run a flea flicker. We've never even set up a flea flicker. Josh Allen has never not been in the center
That's
or
some
in the
old J.P. Lossman, Trent Edwards
crazy.
type stuff.
Yo,
You seen that in a
We did it before. We did it in the playoffs. He caught the
No, I mean this
touchdown.
year. I mean this
Oh,
year.
this year, yeah.
Because when
okay.
you, what I'm getting at, when you show something like that, you want the other team to say, "Oh, we've seen this before. This is
Right.
what they do."
Yeah.
And again, you want what's his name? Monken? Is that the offensive guy or defensive guy?
Oh, Todd Monken?
Yeah.
That's the offensive.
Oh, who's the defense? Do you know who the defensive coordinator?
I forget his name. It's a black dude.
Him.
yeah.
Anyway,
I'll
Matt,
look
no,
it
we're
up.
not
I'll
calling
look
him
it
him because I call everybody him. I'm not doing that. That guy,
The look,
I want
his
him
whole
to be
body
like-
changed. Like, what?
I want him to be like, oh snap, Samuel's in the backfield. You guys know what it is.
Yeah.
Adjust, whatever. and you want them to collapse Samuel with Josh Allen being wide open and do whatever you. But that has to be a faster read. He has to say, "Oh, I can't throw that out of bounds."
Zach Orr.
Zach Orr, okay.
Zach Orr. Yeah.
Okay. And that's
I
got to
remember
be,
him when he was a linebacker in the league.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
the 32-year-old, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean that has to be something that has to be a little quicker. The problem is we don't have anybody to be quick with it. Where's KJ Hamler?
Yo, I mean, maybe we could have used him instead of Codrington, who seemed like the situation was too big for him too. I'm just saying.
Did you have to say Codrington? With me sitting here, with me in your presence, you said Codrington. Dude.
I'm just saying.
No. I thought he was just a kick return. This is me. This is what I do. I does this.
Right.
You doesn't do this. And the thing is, even if you do, what's the net gain from this? What return have you seen that was so explosive? Like, yo, we had to have this guy. We had to have this guy.
Yeah.
Yesterday you could have had, Cam Lewis was struggling. You could have had Daquan Hardy in there playing slot. You could have had Cottinger. Oh wait, he doesn't play slot. He's a return guy. I got other points. Let me not pirate this. You guys go ahead. I'm sorry, Mel. You got
Well,
the floor.
real quick to that point, did you hear the story that? Oh man, I forgot who told it, but it's the story of how the running back Steele on the Chiefs came to be a Kansas City Chief.
No.
So Andy Reid was a fan of Steele in college. He used to watch their games, like all of them, right? And so when he went to go watch the team play, he realized Steele wasn't on the field,
Right.
and so he called to figure out. Well, he called his people to kind of figure out where Steele was, and they said, well, he graduated or he tried to go in the draft or something like that. He wasn't, he moved on, right? And so Andy Reid immediately called him. They signed him, right? That's how he ended up on the team, right? I'm going somewhere with this, I promise.
But yeah.
Now, Steele looks like a decent physical back. Can't hold on to the ball, but he looks like a decent physical back, right? And it's one of those nicety signings. It's like, I really like this guy. I want him around. I think he can help us, but he might not be polished right now, but he's got time, right? When you win as many games and as many Super Bowls as Andy Reid does, you can make nuanced signings like that with guys that you can give time and train up or, help them get polished or whatever when you're winning like they're winning. Yeah. But when you're the Buffalo Bills and all you've done is win regular season games and first round playoff games, and you've only been to one AFC championship in the last 7 years, and your goal is to win a Super Bowl, you don't have the luxury of just having a Codrington sitting there when you can keep KJ Hamler on the team, let him do that, and let him help you as a receiver. That gives you another speed option to get down the field and possibly make a play with one of the strongest, if not the strongest, arms in the NFL. I mean, I don't get it. If we can figure this stuff out, why can they not?
It boggles the mind. I mean, your story about Steele was interesting because we tried that. We went and got a WWE wrestler.
Yes, we did.
We went and got a guy that's 5'11" or 5'10", whatever he is, 275 pounds.
Yeah.
Hey, here, you look like a defensive tackle to me.
And even that was an extremely unfortunate situation for Stevenson because
It was.
What the Bills did to him was really wrong. I can't talk about it, but it was really, really wrong.
I don't know anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're talking about a guy, and I thought about this before the last show, and I should have said something. But with the emergence of this run game, why is Dawson Knox or what's it escapes me, the fullback? Why are we not using
Gilliam.
Gilliam? Why are we not using any kind of fullback? Why do you not have Dawson Knox in motion? Lead blocking. Why is it that we got two back-to-back teams in gold and now Ricard?
Well,
or no, not back-to-back, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I get it. Schematically, it doesn't fit what Josh likes to do. The reason that it works with the Ravens is because Lamar likes having the big boys on the field. He likes having the tight ends and the fullback. Like, that's how he likes to play. He does like to pass out of shotgun, but he also likes having that heavy run style of offense, right? So Todd Monken has done a pretty good job of marrying that with the way that Lamar likes to pass the ball, which cool, it's working for him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But with Josh, first and foremost, the way that their offensive line blocks best is not really suited for the way that Josh likes to play, because Josh does not like being under center at all.
Right.
Josh is not a fan of having a bunch of big boys on the field. He wants receivers. He wants to launch that thing, right? So Josh is kind of on the other side of the spectrum of don't ever put me under center unless you absolutely have to, right? And when you have a situation like that where your quarterback is not playing under center, having a fullback on the field you know what I'm saying? Unless you're gonna run a wishbone or something like that, it's something stupid, But yeah, that schematically it doesn't fit the way Josh likes to play, and it's sad because something like that really could help this team in terms of getting bigger chunk plays in the run game. I mean, the offensive line has been doing a really good job. Congrats. Shout out to Aaron Cromer for the job he's done. But it's limited now. It's limited. It's especially when you're going up against, Michael Pierce didn't even play in that game yesterday. He was out. I watched today the Ravens line up with 6 men across the defensive line, right? Soon as the ball was snapped, everybody took a step forward, and 3 of them backed off, right? By the time the 3 backed off, whoever that nose tackle was got right around David Edwards with the quickness.
That was what was his name? Travis. I have it. Travis Jones.
Travis Jones.
Did you see what the way he cleared Edwards out on that? He took the man. He just gave him a chuck and threw him into McGovern. I mean, you can't have that. He held him. That was a hold because he knew he was going down. It's just things like that just can't happen. And having Alec Anderson come in when you got Van Pran on the bench, why are you so stuck in your ways when it comes to adjusting and pivoting for the need of the team you're playing against? If they have a certain weakness or a certain thing we can exploit, bring in players. I don't care who's on the depth chart. Bring them in. It's just irritating that you could watch the game and say, okay, we can't win here, but we can win there.
Right.
But they don't care about there. They just say, you know what? This is what we have. It's almost like when Chan Gilly said, Chan Gilly, it wasn't his turn. It's almost like that. Like, when is his turn?
Do you think that Sean went into this game kind of with the same mindset of we don't really have to worry if we lose this game because we don't play these guys that often. You know what I'm saying? It's just a game. If we do lose, it's just one game. You think maybe that played a part?
Well, what I think did play a part is, I don't know if you guys know, but him and Jim Harbaugh are like this.
Yeah.
So they were texting before the game and everything. And one of the after the game comments, Harbaugh goes to McDermott and says, "Hope to see you in the end of the year." So meaning playoffs, because we only play one time in the season anyway. So I don't know. I don't know if they took the game. I don't want to say this, but I don't know if they took the game as serious as they should have. Because, again, you're playing this thing one time, so you don't really got a game plan for this team. unless you make it to the playoffs, which, like you said, based off our division, we're going to be there.
Yeah.
But what if we got to play them first week? Are confident that we can beat them? Do we change up? Like, I don't know. But I don't know. The game just felt weird to me because it just didn't seem like the Bills that we know.
Yeah, I really want to know. I'm interested in seeing why Derrick Henry had his third ever game against Sean McDermott over 70 yards. I tweeted this out. I said, yo, on his first carry of the game, it was only the third time he went over 70 yards against the Bills.
Yeah.
Not on one run in the whole game. So McDermott knows how to defend him.
Right.
I mean, that tells me, did you not throw bad with Jabone? Were you really being that stingy? I'm like, yo, I was so confident that Lamar was going to. I thought that's what I had to worry about, Lamar. But when I saw Derrick, I'm like, yo, come on now.
It's over now.
Yeah.
As soon as they let that happen, I'm like, it's over now. Because exactly what I thought was going to happen happened. It's the second you let him go off like that, that's in the back of every player on our defense's mind. Derrick Henry's going to run it against us for 87 yards again. Right? And it was that made it so easy for the Ravens to just take advantage of that little idea in the back of the Bills' defensive players' minds. They were able to capitalize. Oh, we're going left. Nope, we're going right. Oh, you're scared of Henry? Oh, now I'm going to run the ball up the middle. Like, you know what I'm saying? It just became just a cat and mouse game the whole rest of the night.
And we were chasing. All we were doing was chasing.
Right. So,
So my thing is, after this game and the Jacksonville game, when I was at the Jacksonville game, I was looking at Cook, and I ran the poll. I did all 32 teams, and Cook is the lightest running back in the NFL.
Hey, you shut your mouth now.
Height to weight standards, he is the lightest running back in the NFL.
Hey, you shut your mouth. I had to fight every day. I got to fight this point every day.
So, because at the Jacksonville game, I'm watching this dude, and I'm like, yo, this dude is just skin and bones. Like, don't get me wrong, he's fit. Like, he don't have no fat on him whatsoever. Like, I don't see an ounce of fat on him. But I don't know if he's going to be able to take the beating and getting hit. The only other person who is a little bit beefier than him is Devin Achane. So he's 5'7", 188. He's 5'11", 190.
Yeah, and he beefed up.
Right? So
he put on weight this year.
Weight.
That's
my
crazy.
worry is on the defense side of the ball, we're light.
Yeah.
You look at our cornerbacks, our linebackers, we're light. How, do you guys think that's going to be a liability in the end of the season or in the playoffs where our team is so light in the pants?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the game last year against the Chiefs here, one of the things that kept them in the game was being able to run the ball, because for a while they weren't. We saw it; they weren't passing all over us. You know what I'm saying? And then Bernard goes back down. Wait, was Bernard in that game? I think he went down in that game.
Which one?
The Chiefs playoff game
last
No.
year.
He didn't play in that game.
Remember, they called up from
AJ Klein.
AJ Klein. Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. So, but even with those guys, like they weren't throwing it all over the yard like that. You know what I'm saying? It was the run game that kind of kept them consistent on their drives and kept the ball in their hands and out of ours. You know what I'm saying? So, I wanted to go back to your point that you made too, which is something that I wanted to bring up. Is a really great point, which is the offensive lines, like what the Ravens have and what the Colts have and what the 49ers have and what the Eagles have and the Texans have a little bit of that, right? Anytime we've seen the Bills go up against big, strong, good offensive lines, they struggle. It's a schematic thing. You're right. The defense is light. And I think to some degree, Sean McDermott, before he decided to employ this scheme, said to himself, listen, the run is just going to have to happen.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I'm going to stop the pass no matter what. I'm not letting no team drop 40 on my head by going past my safeties every single play.
Yep.
Not letting that happen, right? And the trade-off has been exactly what we saw. When we go up against teams that can run heavy up the middle, the Chiefs have one of the best guard-center-guard combinations in the league, right? I think right before you got here, we were talking about how the Ravens moved Patrick McCarry from right tackle back to guard, which is his bread and butter. That's what he played in New England. So the interior of the Ravens offensive line becomes Patrick McCarry, Tyler Linderbaum, who are both good inside. Tyler Linderbaum's a good center. And then you add to that a young fella who's 6'8", 380 pounds. You got a decent attack up the middle. You know what I mean? And you somehow, as a head coach, think, man, Ed Oliver is just going to eat tonight at 6'1", 280 pounds.
Well, I knew if they had Ed Oliver on Falele, which is the dude that makes Osiris Torrance look like a wee bit. I saw a lot of opportunity based on previous games against Falele that I thought would be advantageous. The problem was they didn't put him on that guy because he's faster, which is that's a flaw in itself. But also, I think the game plan, like I said before, was to make sure that the line was sturdy enough that Derrick Henry and Lamar didn't run past them all day long. They weren't attacking like people said they were. They were kind of sitting there trying to take it. They were two-gapping almost.
Yep.
They were scared. They didn't play their game, and that's the problem. Like you said, if you want Travis Henry, if you want Derrick Henry to,
I was wanting to say Travis Henry. I'm like, who is Travis Henry? I couldn't figure it out because I was so mad last night. I'm like, who is Travis Henry?
Hunter Henry. No, but yeah, I mean, if you are that afraid of that guy, and Lamar Jackson does not play your game, you're not going to win a lot of games. You're really not.
Yeah, I mean, luckily the league is not full of offensive lines like that. Like, there's a handful of teams, and off the top of the head, what 2, 3, 4 of them are in your conference,
right?
You know what I'm saying? So, and the likelihood of the Colts making the playoffs just went up now with Joe Flacco taking over the reins in Indy. So. The hope is
Can he come back player of the year again?
Huh?
Can he get comeback player of the year again?
Who else would win it?
He better not win it.
He might.
Oh my God!
Might.
How you come back twice in a 300-seat 5-day year?
Well, anytime you do what he did for the Browns,
I get the first
and then
time
you don't get a starting job, and you go as a backup somewhere, and you come back and you take another team to the playoffs. I'm sorry, like you got it. You got it.
Nah, you can't have it.
You can't have. Oh, you just salty now. You just salty now.
He came back from the comeback.
If you guys had to point to one thing outside of the scheme, because we can't change the scheme. If you guys had to point to one thing in this game that you think changing that would vastly affect the game and change the outcome, what would it be?
Without touching the scheme?
Well, I just mean scheme in terms of, playing nickel.
Like something we can't change, like, bringing in somebody mid-game.
Yeah, the Buffalo Bills at halftime
signed for somebody.
Signed Star Lotulelei to come back, and he put the weight back on.
He's on his way right now.
He's back at 330 pounds.
He's driving as we speak.
Yeah, but what you guys think?
I don't know, man. I just, on the offensive side of the ball, I would love to see a sense of urgency that I didn't see. Like, I didn't see an urgency at all. Like, y'all down. Y'all need to score. Like, what are y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't see that. And on the defense, I will say this. Second half, I had a glimmer of hope because the first came out, they punted. Mm-hmm. Cool. We got the ball. 4 plays. Mm-hmm. Touchdown. Okay. Next play. They fumble. I'm like, oh, snap, let's go.
Right.
And then, boom, they do the flea flicker, we fumble. I'm like,
right.
And then, I still thought it was hope until they scored that last touchdown and it was over. I'm like, after that, I didn't see nothing. Mm-hmm. I didn't see no moxie. I didn't see no let's go guy. I didn't see nothing. Just kind of laid down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on? Again, like we said during training camp, there's nobody on the offense that has any juice or any power to, you know what I'm saying, to say, hey, listen, we getting our butts whooped. Let's do something about it. And that kind of, I would love to see that, but I don't know if we even have that. And it's kind of pissing me off because when we go, don't get me wrong, the Ravens are, I think the Ravens are legit. I'm not saying they're unbeatable, but they're a decent team. Mm-hmm. But we have way more teams that we need to play. Way more. We got a gauntlet coming up. Mm-hmm. So if you don't do anything now to make changes or game plan better, like we're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, I agree. I think to the point, I just want to touch on the point you made because I was thinking about it earlier when we were talking about 14 of old. There's no urgency. And I think that's what drove him to not want to be here anymore. He looked to his left, he looked to his right. There's no fire here. Like, why is it that I'm the one that's getting vilified, but I'm the one that's trying to pump everybody up? And to this day, you've never heard anybody say anything cross about Stephon Diggs. Even if you want to portray Josh as saying, well, you know, we're glad he's going, or James, we're glad he's going. They might be glad he's going because people don't react the same way to certain things. There's certain stimuli that people don't react to in a favorable manner, and he might have been it, and he knew that. He said, "I have no hard feelings for anybody in Buffalo, but I just had to make things shake."
Right.
But when we went to that training camp, defense was all over the place. Last night, Balen Spector made some plays. He was all over the place. Dorian Williams, you saw it in our eyes, like, yo, we balling now, we playing. And it was those two really that were getting killed in the first half.
Right.
But whatever it was in the second half that made them that turned it around, you know, like I said, the lessening of the Lamar Jackson effect in the second half gave him the ability to focus in on Derrick Henry, to only allow him, 4.8 yards a carry in the second half. You know, that's a regular game, 15 for 90. I take that. The problem is the first half you gave up 9 for 109. Right. So what I would change schematically, or not schematically, sorry. What I would change is just the mentality. You know, and I think about what would Ray Lewis be on this team? What would that be on this team? Would he be vilified as well? Would they want him out? Would we be concerned about his standing when he walks out of the locker because they're not giving him what he needs in there? You know, and let's not talk about the guy that Buffalo loves to hate. Let's talk about somebody else that Buffalo would probably hate because of his past, but that's a Buffalo problem. Yeah. This guy is a first ballot, probably the best linebacker I've ever seen in my life. You know, I know Lawrence Taylor, blah, 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 but this dude, pound for pound, and what he did to dissect everything on the field is probably the best linebacker ever. And the drive, the yearning to be better, even though you're at the pinnacle. Right. I have to be better. I got all my soldiers. What do you call them? My soldiers, this, that, and third, my warriors. In Buffalo, could you have warriors? Could you have soldiers? Would anybody buy in? Right. Because that's not the culture here. But that's a winning culture. Yeah. That's what it takes. And people don't understand what it takes because they haven't seen it yet. But let somebody come in here, you know, we talk about Keon Coleman boiling over. We talk about, you know, the Mac Hollins effect. We talk about a lot of things. And I think what it takes for this team to get over the hump is for somebody to come in here and shake things up. And the problem was Diggs shook it up and people were ready to shake him loose.
Right. I think too, though, what you said, though, I guarantee you if we had somebody on the defense, it wouldn't be a problem. People on the defensive side of the ball, they don't see problems where you begging for the ball on the offense. So, for example, let's say you got Ray Lewis versus Diggs. Everybody's going to vilify Diggs because
the position he plays.
Exactly. Like, that comes with defense. Like, you got to have a moxie with you when it comes to defense. You have to have that, right? So, I think that if we had that, I don't think that person will ever get vilified. Right. You know what I'm saying? Even if they could be pretty nasty or maybe be a dirty player, but because he's the defense and he's got that attitude, everybody loves it. Everybody's going to praise that. And it's funny you said that too because Ray Lewis, he's still alive, ain't he? He got a statue. How many people you know got statues and still living in the organization? Yeah. Right? Also, I was listening to a podcast with Ocho, and he said, yo, me and Ray like this.
Yeah, I better think after that hit
like this. But when they was playing each other, he hit him. He thought it was a dirty hit. Ocho was about to fight. He said, I don't care. Like, I see Ray. I know how big he is, and I know he that dude. But nah, bro. Like, I wanted to fight. Right. So make it so bad. It took Ed Reed. They were interviewing Ed Reed. He brought up the story. Ed Reed. He cased Ray Lewis outside to the parking lot to the car because he said, "Listen, we brothers." He was like, "Yo, what was up with that? Like, why was that dirty hit?" Ed Reed said, "Bro," he said, "I'm gonna tell you just like this." He said, "I love Ray to death." But he said, if your mama was out there, he would hit her. He said, yo, that's how Ray Lewis was when he put that helmet on. Yeah. When he put that helmet on, he don't care who was on the other side of that ball. He's hurting you. He's killing you. Yeah. He don't care who you are. Yeah. Yeah. And I would love to have some of that, a portion of that on the Bills defense. Yeah. A portion of that I would kill for.
I think, you know, for Buffalo, we need to understand, and we know this because none of us, three of us wanted 14 going. we knew what came with him. We knew the drama. We knew all that stuff, but we knew what he brought on the field. I'm not talking the playoffs because guess what? 14 men on the field made the playoffs easier for Kincaid, made Knox money, made James Cook a relevant dude, 1,200 yards last year because you couldn't stack boxes. Guess what? Everybody eats. Everybody eats intermediate. Everybody eats shallow. I told you this is the first time in 4 years that Josh Allen has his second highest pass completion total behind the line of scrimmage. Behind the line of scrimmage. That's what they want. But the thing is, why is Keon Coleman not in the slot? He's a slot receiver. That's what he should be. But you have nobody on the outside. You got nobody to put up because you're not putting Shakir out there because he's too valuable in the slot.
Right.
But that's where KJ Hamler comes. Because MVS he's supposed to be speed, but he ain't fast when he's on the sideline.
So answer this one real quick because that is something that my man Whittle said in the chat. He said, what could KJ Hamler do to help this team? And the context of his comment was that it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like he doesn't think KJ Hamler would be of much more benefit than any other receiver that's on the team right now.
Where would you use him? Where would you put him?
If I had KJ Hamler, would be like an Isaiah McKenzie kind of player. He would be the gadget guy. But the thing is, wherever you put him, he has a speed threat.
Yeah.
Everybody knows about his speed, and you saw in the preseason. He runs the ball, he passed the ball, blah blah blah.
Right. It's a different speed than Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel is fast.
Right.
But Curtis Samuel doesn't have the kind of the level of quick twitch speed that KJ Hamler has. You know what I mean? That's so like a guy like Tyreek Hill, Jalen, like those are guys that have speed and quick twitch speed. Like those are two totally different things. But if you have both, like KJ Hamler does, you're a whole different monster on the field.
Yeah. So I mean, he's just somebody that if you get on the ball, you just got to let him touch the ball so the defense knows that he's a threat. That's why everybody eats doesn't work. Because there's, like you said early on in the show, even though we spread the ball, wow, we had 8 different players with targets again. After 10 last week, wow, what happened? We lost 35-10, so that obviously doesn't matter. Nobody respects it. If you have a good defense that's athletic, who cares how many people catch the ball? Because guess what? Ray Lewis killing them all.
Yep.
I don't care who has the ball. I'm going to get to him. Kyle Hamilton, he was smacking cats. Shakir, ask Cook how that hit felt. T looked just like, oh,
right.
Is he all right? I said,
lit that boy up.
Yeah, he did. I was like,
gosh.
I was like, yo, not my boy, not Himothy. But
not last night.
No, but I mean, it's just the fact that if you don't want KJ Hamler, insert that skill set because Mac Hollins started last night.
Yes,
Mac Hollins is supposed to be a special teams player.
The man has been on 4 teams in 4 years. Mm-hmm. And somehow he's one of your leading target getters. I mean, essentially, he was given the X receiver job based off of his leadership, not his actual talent and ability and track record. Yep. You brought a guy onto your offense from somewhere else, right? I know he came from Vegas, but from outside the building. You brought in a receiver from outside the building, and right after you drafted a wide receiver and your GM goes out and says, yeah, he's going to come in and be our X, you then give the job to another guy who just based on his own level of confidence and him being self-assured, that somehow rubbed off on everybody else and they started walking around barefoot and Sean McDermott looks at that and goes,
I like his
we
moxie.
need that on the field.
I like his
yeah. It's ridiculous. It really is.
He's the kind of guy you bring in, you want to have in a room with Malik Neighbors, with Brian Thomas Jr., somebody like that, where, and I'm not saying Keon Coleman's not talented, but it's just a certain level of athleticism that we need from that 1A, that one level wide receiver that doesn't have it all in their head. Malik Neighbors, as talented as he is, he's gonna get his mouth gonna get him in trouble. Brian Thomas Jr., he's a very quiet dude, but he doesn't have that instinct yet. He doesn't know what to see. Xavier Legette, he had 6 catches the other day, and it's like, wow, he finally showed up somewhere. Lab McConkey, this guy is going off.
Yeah, he is.
And that's who you put a Mac Hollins with. You put him with, he's like, yo, go talk to him. Be friends with him. Because we know you got this, but we want to add to your athletic ability with the mind state that this guy has. And when you have this room of MVS, he's an old guy. You got Khalil Shakir, who don't care. He's got Eric Mose on his speed dial. Mose probably has him blocked based on what I saw in embedded. But you have a bunch of people in that room that's like, it just gives you no kind of sense of, oh man, like we saw Lamar Jackson, we saw Derrick, oh man, we got to watch out. We got to game plan those guys. Who are we game planning on? And everybody, you don't want a game plan. That's great. No, it's not. Because if I can get Mel game plan, that means I can feed you all day long.
Yep. But okay, tell me if you saw this last night. I think right after the second back shoulder throw to Coleman, they show him coming back to the huddle, and he's looking over at the sideline, and he did something like he kind of waved off the coaches, or he waved off somebody on the sideline as if, like, no, don't sub me out.
Not coming out, yeah.
Right? And he looked frustrated when he did it. One of the things that, to me, can become an issue after instances like that in a game like this, with what Coleman has to see this team go through now, because Coleman has now experienced exactly what everybody here has experienced, which is we're not built to beat teams like that. Right? And something like that we know wouldn't sit right with Stephon Diggs, and something like that I think I can safely say, while at the same time it's not sitting well with all the players, it's especially not sitting well with Keon Coleman, because he's still got to earn his time. He's watching all these other receivers out here go out and get called on to make plays for their team, and he gets called on when it's kind of out of hand. I think when he was getting those passes, it was already 28-10. You know what I'm saying? The Bills offensively had no other option. It's like, well, let's put him out there and see if he can. You know what I'm saying? If you haven't been in the rhythm of the game, playing down after down after down, it's kind of hard to come out and the first real pass that you catch is a 40-yard deep pass over the shoulder with a defender draped over you. Like, I'm sorry, you got to be in the flow of the game to make something like that happen for a guy like Keon Coleman. He can do it, but you could see. Okay, so for those of you who don't do a lot of film study and analysis like that, the issue with Keon Coleman's drop was timing. It was timing. That's all it was. He mistimed the nudge off, the chicken wing, as you said. He mistimed.
He almost gave him the stiffy.
He called it. He called it.
Yo, man, I'm leaving that again.
Yo.
I'll blame you, man. No, don't do that again.
He was calling for you last episode. He was like, yo, call Mac right now and tell him to never say that again. So, but yeah, it was a mistiming of giving the corner the chicken wing and then lining up his hands to catch the ball. So, again, something like that, if he was on the field regularly and getting the same looks that McConkey, that Neighbors, that Marvin Harrison Jr. has been getting, like, he's ready for that. The only person who thinks he's not ready for that is the head coach.
And even further, obviously the offensive coordinator.
Right? Yeah. Right.
Yeah, obviously that one. I mean, I get it. And the thing is, if you look at all rookies, I have it up right now. Keon Coleman is 9th out of all rookies in receptions. Elite Neighbors has 35. Keon Coleman has 8.
He's on. Well, I don't know if we can say the worst team in the league anymore because they're playing way better.
Yeah,
but
I mean, even Brian Thomas Jr. is 17.
Yeah,
Marvin Harrison Jr. What do you have against us? 2, 1. He's got 15.
Yeah,
but you look at all those other teams, though. I could honestly say on every one of those teams, the rookies are the best receivers there. I don't think that's the case with us. I think Shakir is the best receiver we have.
True. I think the illustration.
But to your point, though, if I'm Brady, I'm like, yo, let me use Coleman. You know what I'm saying? We drafted him for 6th round. Let's use him. Let's put some work to him. Let's see what he can do.
That's
Give him the opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
Because he's already made more plays than Mac Hollins has made.
Absolutely.
Period.
MVS.
Exactly.
Whoever you want.
Exactly.
Save for Shakir. Name anybody else. He's the second best wide receiver on the team. And did you see? We made a lot of me. I don't know if you were on the show at the time, but we made a lot of fun about Keon Coleman's get off. his release. we joked on that, but did you see the release he had on the, I forget what, but they replayed it and showed him press break. I mean, he got off that thing. I'm like, yo.
On the back shoulder?
I don't know if it had to be, because that's like the only, he caught 2 back shoulders and one corkscrew. But I mean, to get off, it's like, yo, this dude, he came off like something serious.
Yeah.
I felt like he was trying to make a play, like trying to change the outcome of the game, and it's not enough people like that mentality. What else on the team?
Oh, watch out, watch him out.
Especially in a leadership role.
Watch him out. You're going to get him excommunicated. You're going to get him up out of here.
About to go to lockup.
Right, he about to get.
Now, Josh is the leader, but like, again, in those moments, man,
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% right. And like you said, even Xavier Worthy has one more catch than Keon Coleman.
Wow.
He's got
One more. Xavier Worthy has
And they
one more
barely
catch.
use that kid, man.
Jordan Whittington has more catches than Keon Coleman. Xavier Leggett, 12.
What about the? Have they been using the Yak King?
Oh, Malachi Corley.
No, they haven't used him at all.
Nah.
No.
He's got one catch for 13 yards.
What about AD?
They do use Adonai, but they were mad that Adonai, he's got 2 catches.
What?
But they were vilifying Richardson for that, because they're like, AD's out there. He had a couple of plays he could have made,
He just not hitting.
but they hadn't thrown the ball.
Yeah, he's going through a major sophomore slump.
Yeah.
He's struggling.
And he hurt him so sliding.
I got Michael Pittman in like mad leagues, and he had that one good game because of Flacco. Not
Hold on
him.
1 second. Roy, sorry about that. I'm late. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
he's about to blow up with Flacco now.
So like, I don't know. But I do see what y'all saying. Like, yeah, all those other receivers are the best, but like, you have a raw rookie talent that you're not developing.
Yep.
Uh,
Like, why would you throw everything at him? What do you got to lose?
Exactly.
What do you got to lose?
You have nothing anyway.
I mean, you got comebacks. And I don't want to see him turn into Gabe Davis. And this is not
the one
me.
trick when he wants to run.
Yeah,
same routes.
the one that you're not equipped for. The NFL, a 4-6 wide receiver. I don't care if he ran 22 miles an hour in a gauntlet drill. A 4-6 wide receiver does not run 9s at 6'4", 215.
Right.
6'4", 215. You living over the middle. You about to go, man. You've seen this man make plays over the middle.
To be fair, he plays more like a 4 or 5 guy. To be fair.
They do say that, like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I mean,
right.
hey, 22 miles per hour. Like when you look at the how fast you got to run to get up that speed,
Yeah.
like that's pretty fast.
No, it's fast. It's
You know what
fast.
I'm
But I guess my point is, he's not. When you say a deep threat, you don't think of this.
Right.
That's why MVS
You don't think
was
of
an
a 4 or
anomaly.
5 guy. I mean,
right.
even if you don't think of that.
No, you think of like an MVS, a 6'4" who ran a 4.3, which is an anomaly.
Right.
DK Metcalf, which is an anomaly.
Right,
But Keon Coleman should not be, because at some point the people in Buffalo are going to be like, you know they're going to say this.
But
Why did we draft him so high? He's not doing anything. He's got 8 catches.
Yep. Then they're gonna start calling him a bump.
But that's where I'm going with this. It's like what do you think is going to happen?
it's
after a while?
definitely not his fault at all.
Yeah, no. I mean,
What did which car run? Because he kind of.
who's that?
I'm not comparing him to this guy,
What?
but I'm just saying, the guy I don't like, Harrison Jr.
He didn't run. We don't know what he ran. He never ran anywhere.
Really?
He never ran anything
course
anywhere.
not. Why
He didn't do it.
Why would he?
Right. His dad. Well, to be fair, his dad told him. His dad has been crappy counsel, because his dad actually is part of that was it fan sided or whatever, that lawsuit. They're suing his dad too.
Wow.
That's how bad of an influence he is. So
But I know, like, even though I don't like him, like, and when I say I don't like, it's not like it's not his playability. It's just the attitude that became.
Right.
It's just a pre-draft attitude. Put it that way. But
he's got a stink on him.
I've seen him. He's got skills, but he doesn't seem that fast to me. So like, I don't think he's faster than Keon Coleman.
I think if you let him run straight line, yes. But Marvin Harrison Jr., his whole claim to fame is his route running, his body control, his discipline. That's his. It really isn't a speed thing with him.
See, because I see him do both. I see him do either intermediate routes as well as the deep routes.
Right.
But again, he's not a burner, so
Right.
I'm like,
Keep you honest.
yeah.
But see, that's the problem. They don't let Keon Coleman do both. He had one catch on a short, and I was like, wow. I just put in my notes, don't make this dude a one trick pony, and he runs a short like an intermediate. I'm like, okay, cool, he caught it, but I need to see more of that. Keon Coleman should have easily. What did we play 4 games? I'd say he should have 18 or so catches. Easily.
Yeah.
There's no reason you shouldn't have 4 catches a game.
Easily. Now, is Harrison and Coleman's, as far as height and weight, are they similar or no?
Harrison, no. Harrison's
much
smaller.
much bigger.
Harrison's smaller.
Harrison smaller? What?
Yeah, he's smaller.
He look. You know what? He got that.
He looks.
He
Yeah.
got that giraffe neck. So he looks bigger, but
Now Harrison is, well, same height with 205. So
okay.
yeah, so you're looking at 10-pound difference, 15-pound, depending on what Keon Coleman had in Louisiana to eat. But I beg to differ that there's no reason why Keon Coleman can't do a lot of the stuff Harrison can do with the basketball background, with the body control, with the hands, things like that. You should be able to utilize them differently than what they're doing.
Now let me ask you this: I hate to say this, I really hate to say it, and I'm not jinxing it. Shakir goes down.
We're done.
Are they forced to do that to Coleman though?
What, put him in the slot?
No, to force to make him give him those targets and those catches like all the other rookie wide receivers are doing. Does that force Brady and McDermott to purposely give him the looks in the targets?
Nah.
It
still don't
should.
think so?
No, it should, but I don't think so.
No, they love being firm. And
Exactly.
No, we're gonna follow our game.
We have a
plan.
pecking
No.
order. It wasn't on the board. We have a board.
That's
You're
ridiculous.
getting this many catches. At 4 minutes and 21 seconds, you're getting this catch.
So not even an injury is going to help him.
Nope.
That's crazy.
Nope. And that's the thing. It's one step up from what we see in other sports and how they treat rookies. You know, we don't care what happens. We'll bring somebody in before this happens, which I don't want to derail this, but that segues me right into the safety conversation that we've been having. Everybody's talking about how Taylor Rapp is down. So, wow, we got Cole Bishop. Now we can bring up Lewisine. Oh, wait a minute. We forgot somebody.
Who? Oh, Shavers.
No.
No.
The other guy that I've been banging the drum for playing forever,
Cole?
Mike Edwards. He's not active.
What? Hold up. Hold up. You want Mike Edwards to play?
No, what I'm saying is, why are we leapfrogging him? He's not active. He's on the 53, but not active. But now people are saying, bring up Lewisine.
So what? So is he not healthy?
Yeah, he's healthy. He's been healthy since his last preseason game. But he's been a healthy scratch every game. And now they're saying, why don't you call it Lewisine? Why don't you just give your boy Mike Edwards a jersey?
Yeah, what's up with that?
Well, a big part of that, he probably doesn't have the system down. Often the offensive scheme, the offensive playbook and the defensive playbook are one of the more difficult playbooks to learn in the league.
Well, I get it.
You know what I mean? So I maybe in 2 weeks, if he hasn't gotten a shot, all right, we can start being up in arms about it. I don't know if I would.
I wouldn't be up in arms about it.
Well, of course
all right.
not. Of course not.
How'd you think Bishop did when he came in?
I thought he was all right, but see, the thing about when he came in, it was at the point where we could pin our ears back and just go after Derrick Henry. Because he was making plays, but at that point in time, there was no dual threat in Lamar. Lamar was like, here you go, we won. We just got to run this clock out. So it was skewed. You know, I love to say the second half we were better, but when it's all said and done, it was just an easier game for whoever was in the second half.
So I found something funny through all the anger in the game last night. Tell me if you guys noticed this. Huh?
Oh, we know.
You were throwing stuff?
Yo, I felt so bad because
Blew me
Junie,
off, bro.
I didn't blow you off.
He blew me off.
I straight up sent you away. Junie came up.
Cried in my
You did not
bed.
cry. Stop.
My foot.
Yo, he came upstairs and I was so mad at the game, right?
Yo,
He came upstairs and he was like chuckling. He was like, "Hey, Dad, guess what?" I'm like, "June, not right now. Not right now."
important though. Like it was something
Don't make it worse to say it was important.
It was something about my podcast, and I felt happy, but I wanted to express to you.
Yeah.
It blew me off.
Right.
You know, you can't talk about basketball. You know that.
You can
when
give
he's
me the
happy,
worst
you can't talk
Dad of
about
the Year award
basketball.
later.
It was about me having a new co-host on the show. That's what I was gonna tell you.
Well, that's very exciting news.
You tried to overtalk a Bills game about basketball. Next time you come to me,
I'm about to answer the phone next time.
Whoa! Oh!
you called me.
I'm just saying, answer messages.
Oh, you did message me. I saw it today.
I did.
You did. You did message me. I saw it today. You're right.
Everything's
right.
back.
Day late and dollar short, bro.
I was 2 days late.
Oh my god.
Yo.
I asked you to hop on the show. You don't even want to hop on the show.
Yo,
right.
Saturday was not good. But anyway, go ahead. Saturday was not good at all.
I don't want to derail this thing. We got 90 viewers right now. So tell me if you guys noticed this.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice when the announcer was talking about the offensive tackles for the Buffalo Bills and the way that they like their foot placement, basically? When the ball is snapped, it's almost I think this might have been Collinsworth talking about how it's almost like they don't even touch the ground with that with their first
kick step.
Their first kick step. They kind of tap and then set with the second one, right? And then he starts talking about what that does for the tackle and how it allows them to get into position to not be bull rushed. Mm-hmm. And as he's talking about this, they show the Ravens defender coming around strong on Dawkins and bull rushing him right into Josh Allen. As Collinsworth is saying, yeah, it really keeps you from getting bull rushed into your quarterback. As they're showing Deion Dawkins getting bull rushed into Josh Allen.
As he pushed past the screen. Huh?
Yeah, I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. I'm like, yo, how out of touch are these announcers? How out of touch are the video people for putting that on there like that? Like, you couldn't find another clip to show that?
They were back. They were talking about the last game like it happened. It played out differently in their minds. They made a lot of references to the game against Jacksonville, like stuff that happened or didn't happen. I'm like, what are you talking?
One thing I saw when the offensive line, when the game first started, and they were doing the introductions, did y'all notice that PFF got Cyrus Torrance rated dead last?
Yep. He's dead last.
He's really playing that bad?
Yeah, he's dead last right now.
That's crazy. He's 32 out of 32.
Dang.
The thing that pisses me off about that is when you're that bad, they usually don't rank you and they just leave it blank. Like Cam Lewis, it was blank. Why you got to put that on blast?
Right. His didn't even. You're right. His was
nothing
blank.
there. So we just want to point out, you guys, this is the worst guy. This is a personification of doo-doo. Okay, we want y'all to notice that when you see Osiris Torrance, think of doo-doo.
And I want to say, McGovern and Dawkins was rated the highest.
Wow.
Was there 7? There was 7 out of whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm like. And I'm looking, I'm like, 32 out of 32. I'm like, Cybo?
Yeah.
And what are they saying, like pass blocking or overall?
It just said
overall,
PFF ranking. Yeah. So they didn't really go over in the particulars. They just whatever their ranking system is, but they have him dead last. And I'm like, is that a typo? Like, is he really dead last? That's crazy to me.
Yeah, people talk about how tough it is for him. Let me see if I can pull this up. You guys go ahead and converse while I do this. But
I don't get me wrong. Like I don't, y'all know I don't really pay attention to like the big men that much. Well, I didn't know. I probably should, but I didn't know he was that bad. Like from what I'm looking at the offensive line, yeah, we're not perfect, but we're playing pretty decent.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But now come to find out, like, yo, do we got to make a move?
No.
I mean,
substitution.
We knew he was a liability in pass coverage when we drafted him, though. Mm-hmm. I mean, the hope was, and this to me is one of the more frustrating things about the way the Buffalo Bills like to build their teams under Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane. They like to take guys that do one thing great, draft them, put them in a completely different position that forces them to do something they're not good at, in hopes that they'll develop that skill set, and then the Bills will have won themselves this low-cost, high return player that has now mastered the entire skill set and can do everything. And we've had this conversation before when we used Matt Milano as an example and talked about how he came in as a safety. He's a pass coverage guy, and he's gotten much better at his run stopping reads and shooting gaps and all that kind of stuff to become an all-pro player. Well, guess what? How many Milanos have we had since Sean and Bean have been here? Not a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, to me, I think you do your coaches, your position coaches, a disservice when you do stuff like that. Is Cybo a good player? It depends on the scheme you're running. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, you're going to see what you see now, which is him having a terrible rating because he's being asked to do stuff he's not great at. You got a team that is way better at passing the ball than it is running the ball. And you got an offensive line that's just a mesh of a bunch of
different schemes.
Yeah,
because what you see with him is last year why he was good because he wasn't asked to move around a lot. Now his run blocking suffers because look at all the pulls. Look at Spencer Brown. He's pulling on every other play. Yep. Deion Dawkins pulling every other play. Connor McGovern, he's pulling. But the only person in the line that can't do it is the 6'4", 360-pound guard that you put over here. You know, he's a stalwart, but he's stationary. You know, you're not going to get a lot of movement out of him, and they want their guys to move now. The problem is you drafted him, he was good, but now you're asking him to do something different, like you said. Pass blocking now, he's fine. Yeah. But when you look at the run blocks, you can't run behind him because there's too much stuff happening over there. And a lot of that probably has something to do with the fact that he leaned on Mitch Morse before. You know, now you got McGovern. He's like, I can't operate like this.
Right, McGovern can't help you, bro.
Right, I'm not used to this. What's going on?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know whether I have to look and see where McGovern is on the pecking order of centers. Yeah. But I can tell you they got David Edwards ranked 15th overall.
So now, based off of that, based off what you just said about forcing Cybo to move when he's not used to that, who on our squad could we put in that is good at moving and run blocking?
I don't want to say it, but
is it my guy, or is it somebody I don't like?
No, you like him. We all like him.
Do we?
He recognized his pops recognized you.
Oh,
Pran.
Yeah,
but that would be taking him out of his natural position, out of
right,
center.
Right, but he ain't getting that. Evidently,
but couldn't you just put Van Pran at center and put McGovern back at guard?
you could, but guess what?
That makes too much sense.
McGovern can't be moved. We talked. We just said it. He can't be moved.
Yeah.
Oh, so hold up. So Cybo and McGovern can't move?
McGovern can move, but McGovern might be a liability in terms of, you know, kind of passing. The communication is off, we'll say.
Yeah.
You know, you have to, it's more than just blocking. You have to, when there's a twist, when there's a stunt, when I'm getting beat, when they're coming.
You gotta communicate.
Yeah, when
You
you
gotta
got
point
shade
that
or
out.
I'm losing my battle, I got to call out.
Right.
Yep.
And that's when you see them doing like this, and like you can't hear it, but you see it, and you'll see your head snap over. And it's not because they felt it; it's because they heard something. So when they hear it, they hear a call, they hear the code word, whatever it is, they snap to it. And it might be a cadence where Cybo is used to a certain kind of help with Morse that he doesn't have to do now, or has to do something different. And it's going to take more than 4 games to get used to that. You know,
last night was the first time that I saw Josh look like the offense doesn't work for him. And
I noticed that.
The time before that we saw Josh look like that was week 1 against the Jets last year.
Yeah.
He tried to stay in the pocket. He tried to make plays from the pocket. But he got happy feet because he just could not trust the offensive line play in front of him. They got beat too many times. He got chased out of the pocket too many times. There were other times where he does what he usually does whenever the team needs a play. He scrambles early to try and make the defense break down so that he can make something happen in the secondary and get one of his receivers open on a broken play. And it was very distressing seeing him kind of panic like that, even though he had a little bit of time. You know what I mean? There were times where you could see the Ravens defensive line just trying to squeeze the pocket, not pass rush, but just squeeze. But because Josh was already used to running for his life, there was one play specifically where Josh was standing there. He had time. He broke down and like started to run out, but then realized nobody's chasing me. All right, let me set back up in the pocket. Still couldn't find nobody. He had the ball for like 5 seconds at this point in time, and then ended up having to scramble back out of the pocket again just to try and force something to happen. It's one of the most disheartening things when your superstar quarterback is up against an opponent that he's slowly realizing he does not have the horses to beat. And I think that's what we saw with Josh last night. He eventually got to a point where I mentioned earlier before you got here, there was a look that I saw in Josh's eyes of exasperation, like, what can I do? I need help. I need somebody to come in and give me something, somebody to come in and give this team a spark. And this team is not built around spark. It's built around consistency. It's built around hard work and effort and technique and all of the other things that seem to only really beat up on bad teams. Mm-hmm. And so it becomes this never-ending cycle of, yeah, you look good during the regular season, but when you start to go up against playoff caliber teams, i.e. last night, you get your stuff pushed in. You know what I'm saying? So it's tough. It's tough to watch that kind of stuff, and it's tough not to feel like that's going to be what the rest of the season looks like. But I digress.
I was just going to fill in to your point. Mitch Morris is ranked number 11 in centers.
Okay.
Connor McGovern, 34th.
He's not even top 32.
He's not even an NFL starter by PFL right now.
Wow.
Yeah, that's me adding in the caveat that you have to have had 20% of the highest snap count in the league. So basically, whoever has the most snaps at center, it's only giving me the return on guys that have at least 20% of the highest snaps. So 20% of 183 in this case, and he's still 34. So if I took that off, he'd probably be on the second page somewhere.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So that explains why Osiris Torrance has went down. That explains why David Edwards is not that great. You know, he has the experience and he's played a while. That's his saving grace. He knows how to play in the NFL. Cybo's still learning. But when you're still learning, you got to have, and that's why Mitch Morris, as much as I was sad to see him go, dropped a tear. Anyway, as much as it's sad to see Mitch Morris go, that was what he brought his contribution to the offensive line, was the fact that he had seen it before, had done it before in that position at a high level, and you could bring a rookie along with him. You could bring McGovern along with him. Now they're tasked with Spencer Brown trying to teach Osiris Torrance. They're tasked with that communication, which they play well together. But like I said before, when I said on Friday, the offensive line was going to be tested because they run a 2-6. Oweh was all over the place. Vinoy was all over the place. That's what they wanted. Yeah. Roquan Smith, I said before, Roquan Smith was in zone. He was for the taking. They didn't even exploit it at all.
They're last, before last night, they were last in the league in pass coverage.
Yeah, they were big plays too.
Right.
But we don't have big play players.
Exactly.
How do you not attack that?
We don't have to do that to horses.
Right.
But come on, man. Like Brady's he's an NFL offensive coordinator. Like, you can't pull something together like real quick, take the whiteboard out and come on.
That's what the flea flicker was. He made that up on the spot.
Right. You would think. And that's the thing, like I said, all you have to do is attack the middle of the field against zones. When they run, like they said, the Ravens saw a specific look and said, we're calling this play for Derrick Henry to run. Because we know against this look, we're going to get this play. The Bills, all you have to do is say, okay, Roquan Smith is right there in the zone. Let's run something to attack the middle. Kansas City, they exploited them. What they did was they made them choose. They ran a tight end on a route, and they ran a wide receiver right behind it. And Roquan was like, what do I do? Yards galore. The Bills decided to do none of that.
I did hear on the radio somebody was saying how the Ravens, maybe that's the opposite of what you just said. I thought they said on the radio that the Ravens want you to throw in the middle and not on the outside.
They were speculating that's how you beat them because I don't know why, but they were saying that on Friday. I heard that Friday and Thursday.
Heard that too?
Yeah, but the thing is, if you listen to, I think it was Joe Marino, he said, I want to say it was him. He said Roquan Smith cannot cover. He's a liability. He looks out of shape. He looks old. Exploited. The Bills said, "No, we ain't doing that. We're not doing that at all. We're gonna go ahead and attack Marlon Humphrey. We're gonna go ahead and attack Kyle Hamilton. We're gonna attack." What are you doing?
The Buffalo Bills consistently through the first 3 games have not been a team that throws outside. They went into this game having relied too heavily on self-scouting and trying to do what they think was different from what the Ravens were expecting,
right,
and in turn played right into the Ravens' hands.
Yep.
That's what it looks like happened. And it's not something that we haven't seen from them before. I think, Sean tends to get into his head a little bit. I think that trickles down. I think it trickles down to the coordinators. Last night was a game that we aren't used to seeing from Bobby Babich. We're not used to seeing it from Joe Brady, especially when they've shown themselves to be the type of coordinators that adjust well in game.
Right.
And for them to just not have an answer at all lends to, A, everything that they worked on during the week was just wrong, and B, they're not equipped to play well against a team like that, right? And so I think what the mindset has to be is let's try not to do anything that's going to make us do what we're uncomfortable with. we have to figure out ways to reinforce what we're comfortable with doing and just shove it down their throats.
Hey, yo, bro.
He immediately, like he couldn't wait. He sat up and then turned around.
You almost can hear it in the microphone. You can almost hear the chair moving.
Yeah, he couldn't wait to pop out of that chair. Anyway, so let me ask you guys about this before we run out of time. It's 7:50. Daniel McLeod says Devontae Adams ... I mean, is there any way? No, like being creative. Let's be creative. Never mind the cap implications next year. Thinking about right now and the opportunity we have to make the playoffs, is there any way that our capologist can finagle some things around, move some money around, and make some space for this man?
Not for him. He gonna want too much.
I don't.
When you say want too much, you mean money?
Yeah.
He's already under contract. Isn't he?
Yeah, pro.
Can we pay that though?
That's what I'm asking.
yeah,
Can we
You
fit
don't have to
that?
pay the whole thing because it'd be prorated. But no, no.
If we get rid of some lesser players,
Yeah, right.
I mean, you figure you got to look at it like this. They restructured pretty much everybody, so that money is going to come to roost later. How many more years does he have on his contract? I don't even look, but you have to be able to absorb the rest of those years.
Rumors got it. He's going to KC anyway.
He wants out of there.
Oh my gosh, Devontae Adams with Kansas. Yo,
Yeah.
that's not even fair.
They're speculating
I can see it.
he's petting an injury
Mm.
because he's pissed off. And
Yeah, he said, I got to get the hell out of here, man. They're going to get me killed.
So, and it's just great opportunity. Oh, Rice is out for the season.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Devontae, you know what I'm saying?
So he's got 2 years left on his deal. But he has a potential out after this year.
Come on,
It'll be
Keith.
a $15 million dead cap hit.
You can do it, Keith. Cut somebody. You can
There's
do it.
no fat. That's the thing. There's no fat there.
There's no fat.
Because if you do that, you're definitely not going to get Rousseau back. And I know I'm in a minority, but I would like to have Rousseau back. You just gave Spencer Brown a contract, which you don't have money now anyway. You moved all this money around that you shouldn't have in order to absorb some of the signings that they made. You got to pay your rookies next year. You got to. No, there's no way to field a competent team at all and get them on the team.
So even if so let's just say we cut MVS and Samuel.
Well,
Does that
MVS is only going to get you about. I think he's going to get you not even $1 million back. He's going to get you a couple $100,000. You can mess around and cut Tyler Bass. He's gonna net you $100,000 to the good with a $3 million cap hit next year. So yeah, you end up you get $100,000 back. Epinesa they restructured as soon as they signed him. With somebody else they did the same. So there's really there's almost nobody you can do that for. Yeah.
How about before the trade deadline? Is there anybody we can get on the trade that might help us on offense or defense?
I don't know who's available. I mean, honestly, it depends on what you need. I think they have the talent. Mm-hmm. All they need now is somebody to alleviate some of the congestion in the middle. Okay. So they need somebody that people respect to take the top off the defense. Okay. And I think that's where that KJ Hamler thought comes in because they're not using MVS. Nobody's afraid of MVS anymore.
And KJ Hamler wouldn't cost you anything.
No. He's already on the team, so you don't know. You prorate him up to active pay scale, and that's it. But yeah, they're not interested in getting speed out there. They don't want it.
So now, what about on the defense side of the ball?
Could you get rid of somebody or
no to beef up that run game? Is there anybody we can get?
Honestly, I don't think you really have to.
You don't think so?
I don't think you have to because like we talked about with Ravens and you said the Niners is an anomaly, and we've beaten Derrick Henry before. We've done it. So it's like the way we played was more an indictment on the scheme an indictment on the moxie that he brought into the game as opposed to the skill.
And combine that with the inexperience of the linebackers too, because
Yeah,
there's an element of this where if Milano and Bernard were playing, there might be gaps that they shot because they're familiar with, or they have the experience to see it coming.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
and I will say this, I think out of the two, I think Babbage did a better job adjusting than Brady did, because like I said, the second half, I saw a little bit from the defense. As you brought out, they kept Derrick Henry clean. Second half, right? But at that point, the game was already out of hand.
Out of hand, yep.
I didn't see anything on the offense.
No, never.
Nothing.
Nothing.
yeah, and that's it's tough. It's tough because in order to have the playmaker that you want, Sean is going to have to be okay with putting his young guys on the field. And unfortunately, that means taking Mac Hollins off the field and taking MVS off the field. Honestly, I think the team could benefit from putting Keon Coleman out there full-time, letting him learn on the fly. He's the type of receiver that can do that. He's not, he's not expected to be a route technician. And with his athletic ability, being able to run, very, very, just a very simple route tree. He can run flags. He can run nines. He can run post routes. He can be your deep in on flood route combinations or flood route concepts. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of receiver. He's a downfield athletic playmaker. He can be that. And what that does for your team is it gives you a threat that the team has to follow man to man, right? Because if he's big and he's making plays down the field and nobody is big enough to stop him from jumping over or bodying a guy and making a play, kind of in the same way that Brian Thomas Jr. has been doing, that opens things up underneath for Shakir and Kincaid. But right now, because the Bills have no deep threat, everything is we'll play the Bills like everybody who knows how to beat the Dolphins plays the Dolphins. We'll just shut down the timing, keep everybody close to the line of scrimmage, because we know, keep the two safeties deep, but everybody else is playing close to the line of scrimmage because you're either going to throw underneath or you're going to throw it 40 yards. That's it.
Yeah, and they even brought the safeties up.
Right.
They even brought them up. It was like it was shameful. They had no respect for anybody we had out there wide. And to answer your question, we have nobody on this team that would get you more than $1.3 million in free space. Wow. There's not one person on this team that you can cut and free up more than 1.3.
That's crazy, bro.
They are stuck.
They're stuck.
Until next year when they have almost nobody.
We ain't got no money.
Nope.
Right.
Got no money. And even better, next year we have $11 million in cap space, and we only have 44 people on the roster.
I feel like we on welfare.
We are.
We're just waiting in line to catch
nobody,
that next check.
Right now, it's true.
Is this the lowest Beans ever had to work with?
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even when they did roster surgery the first time, they did what? They let Darius go, they let Cordy Glenn go, or traded him.
Yeah.
That's it. What other big contracts did they get rid of? There weren't any. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Tibonius Lex says welfare is crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah, listen, I'm sorry. I man, everything that we talked about needed to be said. We really just did not have time to get to the comments. I saw a lot of good ones in here.
Guess what? I'm gonna go ahead and answer some of them in the community section.
Yeah, we can absolutely do that
and try to pull some out and answer in the community section.
Or just because the chat will show up. It usually shows up like the next day after the show airs. Mm-hmm. You can probably go right back in there and then just in the comments of the show. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to putting in the.
You have not been forgotten. Trust me. But what I don't want to forget before we go, one of my childhood idols, one of the icon, Mount Matumbo. Rest in peace. I hate those three letters. Yeah, he had a brain tumor.
No,
and he died today. So, the reason why I'm a Nuggets fan, the iconic ball.
Well, that
holes.
makes a lot of sense now. I always wonder why you were a Nuggets fan.
Because I was a Sonics fan, and then that's when the Sonics upset the Nuggets upset the Sonics, and he was holding the ball. And actually, the next year they came to Buffalo in '95 and played against the Knicks. So I was there. I saw Mutombo play when McDyess was a rookie.
That is way too much basketball.
I saw the
than
no,
wanted
no,
to
no.
have on the show.
So I definitely wanted to
Key,
pay
keep
ove
going,
to him
keep
while I
going,
had a
Key.
chance. Huh?
Keep it going, Key.
Don't encourage that. Don't encourage that. This is a football show.
He said, no, no, no.
All right, we got to get out of here. It's
Them
8 o'clock.
Mutombo.
It is literally
That
time
right in
for
my ears, man.
huh? That what you said that perked up your ears.
See, now you have me feel.
Hey, yeah.
Before we go, gotta
up?
do it. All right, you ready? Reed's tea, yes, Reed's tea. 1 part refreshing, 1 part delicious, 2 parts healthy. That's what you can expect when we're only 4. Count on 4 ingredients. I don't even drink tea. Well, let me tell you, that's a good drink there. What are you doing? Head on over to Reed's. See what I'm talking about. And why would you take my word for it? Get yourself a case. Get yourself an individual. Trust me, get a case. It's worth it. You won't be disappointed. But what do I know? See for yourself. Reed's tea. Click the link in the description and use code DO in order to let them know who sent you.
Wow.
The do.
Wow. You know what I'm thinking about doing? Let's go. Outside looking in said Key just speaking basketball truth and knowledge.
There it is.
Oh, wow. Check that out. That was really cool.
I like that.
All right. Is the music going? Yeah, music going. All right, listen. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank you to everybody who commented. We will do our best to get to everybody in the comments of this episode when it airs. Well, it's live now, but tomorrow we'll be able to see the chat and respond to it. Anyway, if you haven't done so already, like, subscribe, notification bell to make that thing.
Ring-a-ling-a-ling.
So that you can get notifications when we send notifications your way, like what we just said as far as getting back to you guys in the chat. All right. Listen, we need somebody to like pile on with Dorothy and get into these comments with us and start having some conversations. You know what I'm saying? Dorothy is running the show in the comment section.
Give her a run for her money.
You know, she be hitting us on off days. Just going, you know what I'm saying? So I love it. I love to see it. All right, listen. Okay. You was looking out. My bad. All right, listen. If you want to get in contact with us directly, or if you just want to be friends, or if you just want to cuss us out personally or whatever.
But you got to subscribe before you slander.
Right. You can't slander without being subscribed. That's a rule. We will not hear you. We will not even respond if you're not subscribed. Anyway, all of our social media links are in the chat, including the link to Do Champions Media Network channel. Make sure you check them out. A lot of good content there. That is the network that we're a part of. We've just scheduled this. I don't think we have a date yet, but it's during the bye week. Me and Whittle we're gonna have a one-on-one debate. And it's going to be refereed by Aaron Williams. So it's going to be a pretty big deal. Looking forward to it. It should be a lot of fun. So, you know, when that comes out, we'll put that in the community section. So you got to make sure you got that bell on. And if not, I'll announce it during the upcoming shows whenever we get a solid date set up for that. All right. That's enough of me rambling. This has been the Post Podium Podcast, home of the all truth, no sodium takes. I have been your co-host, Aramis.
Melly Mac.
For the keys.
All right. We will see you guys later. Y'all have a great night.